Okay, so this is the N54 engine. This is BMW straight 6 twin turbo, actual twin turbo, unlike the newer N55, which is single turbo twin scroll. This engine makes 300 horsepower, 300 pound-feet of torque, and it's really underrated. It's considered the modern 2JZ just because you have a lot of potential in tuning. This specific car we have over here is completely stock. We got no mods on it, except just a few, like the front bumper having the M bumper for the front bumper, as well as some suspension work and all that kind of stuff we'll touch base on later on. But this is the N54. It is not the most reliable. I'll show you guys this engine from the inside, and we'll talk about the problems and the common issue that needs to be changed. Quick look at this engine. We can see here is the high pressure fuel pump on this engine. Those are the valves. This is where all the carbon buildup happens, where it's recommended that you clean them. Timing chain right here. This is where the timing guide, the plastic pieces like this where the timing chain sits. And this is the Venus unit, what they call it, the sprocket. Some of them, these go bad actually. And then we got the tensioners right here. It goes right into here. This is just a quick review on the N55. Here's another N55. As you can see, it all disassembled, ready for rebuild. I was actually talking to the mechanic right now, and he said that the most common thing is timing issues with these cars. So timing might go off because of the tensioner going bad, or the solenoids, or bad oil. Alright, so first things first, this car we got right here is a 2007, and it's a manual. It's not an automatic. This is a very rare car. You don't see those a lot, eh? So we finally got one here, got our hands on here. My friend here, he got this car. Previously he had a 335 IS, and he switched and he got this car. This is a beautiful road, by the way. We are in Southern California. A lot of twists on the road, a lot of fun roads, especially in far away from the LA County area. First things first, this car feels really nice to sit inside. The ergonomics are great. Everything here is driver centric. You got a lot of power for 300 horsepower. It feels really faster than 300 horsepower. And not only that, it's the potential for this car. 300 horsepower, I've seen some builds going over 500 horsepower really easily. Intercooler, tune, and you should be all set. Downpipes. Transmission shifts very smoothly. Beautiful clutch feel. Steering feel is amazing. I think this is really a great car. This specific one we're in right now, here he did some modifications to it. So what exactly did you do to this car?
So basically what I did, so far not too much. I got BC Racing coilovers, extreme lows, pretty much on that 20k spring rate.
Extreme lows, what is that? What do you say, extreme lows?
It's more, it goes more lower.
And any engine modifications to this car?
Right now, no. Soon I want to though, in the future. Planning on getting like a tune, charge pipe, downpipes, intakes.
And what made you jump from a 335 IS to the 335 2007 like this one?
Oh, it's the manual.
The manual. So
yeah.
Okay, so it's the manual transmission. That's why this car is very expensive. The manual transmission. If you want to get an automatic one like this, you can find them for 5, maybe 6, 7, 8,000. But if you want to get for a manual, you're probably going to end up paying over $10,000 for a clean example, and that says a lot about the car. I personally, I've driven e92 M3s, and I can see this car is as fun as an e92 M3, and it's much easier to live with. If it's my money, I would go with the 335 rather than e92 M3. Also, if you want to mod this car, if you want to tune it, it's much easier, much cheaper. e92 M3s, you're gonna put a lot of money. We got a beautiful road right here, and it's just a lot of corners, and this car feels really solid on the corners. Here we go. And downshifts really easily. Let's have a listen to the exhaust sound on this car. Have you done anything to the exhaust, by the way?
Oh yeah, I did the performance exhaust mod. Which pretty much is when you cut up the mufflers and you install the straight pipe inside of it.
Got you. Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit louder than the stock, but it's not loud. It's just right there in the right spot. See, we got a long stretch right here. We can probably give it some gas and down to second gear. Look at that. It pulls. It really pulls, this car. It really pulls. Doing some really crazy speeds right now. It keeps on pulling and pulling, and I love it, man. I love this car, I'll tell you that. For 10, 11 grand, there's not a lot of options that can beat this car, really. Now, in terms of reliability, this is the N54 engine again. This engine had some issues. For example, high pressure fuel pump. This was a very common problem with early models. Injectors, they go bad. Turbos, looking at changing a turbo at around 80 to 100,000 miles. If you're lucky, you can go over, and you're looking at $4 grand. High pressure fuel pump, you're looking at about $1,000. Injectors are really not cheap. So all these things are negative things about this car, in my opinion. But other than that, the way it drives, the way it feels, the fun factor is right there. It's right on the spot. It's right there with the M3. It's a little bit even more livable with on a day-to-day basis than the M3. And the torque, you feel this car got a lot of torque, and it's very light. It's a very light car. So all these things play a big role in this car. So the positive things: fun to drive, tuning potential, and it's not that expensive for 10 grand. Negative things: maintenance costs for this car. It gets a little bit high. If you want to get a little bit more reliable, you can go with the N55, started in 2011. That one, it's a little bit more reliable. They changed the injectors, they combined the two turbos into one, they did a lot of things to it. But then the N54 feels a little bit more consistent in terms of power. That's how I feel. I've drove many N55s, but the N54 always, for me, feels the more capable engine. We are on third gear right now, and it just pulls. That's really good. That's really nice about this car.